Hi, everybody. This is Bob Gale, co creator of Back to the Future, and you're listening to Brad Gilmore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back to the Future, the podcast, the only podcast looking back in time for the greatest film trilogy of all time, Back to the Future. I'm your friend in time, Brad Gilmore, and here we are again for season 10. We're continuing our reading of the script of Paradox. It was the first draft of Back to the Future 2 that they eventually turned into Back to the Future 2 and 3. I want to say, because last show we hadn't read the script yet. Now we've read up into the part where Marty and Doc leave 2015. There are some major differences, obviously, between this script and what we eventually saw in Back to the Future 2, especially there in the future. Norman is a more central figure because we see Marty McFly as Norman, like we did in the first one. In the first one, he was Marty Jr. However, the Dave and Linda McFly of it all, where they're with him and they're bringing him to the hospital unveiling of a bust of George McFly. George McFly is dead in this movie. You can really see that Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis, after hearing that Crispin Glover was not going to come back for this movie, they really took that to heart and said, okay, we are going to write him out. And that's what we always heard, that they were going to write him out. But in this version, he's completely written out. You do not see him, oh, I hurt my back on the golf course, like they did in the 2015 in Back to the Future Part 2 with Jeffrey Weissman. You don't see a lot of that. There's this weird subplot with the hospital and the accident that George McFly has. I do like how there's like a mini-series of A Match Made in Space that they produced, and the computer card with Norman's grades on them seemed to be the identifier from the future. Instead of the newspaper that we get from the USA Today of like, hey, here's how we identify if things change in the future, because we have this newspaper and it's, goes youth jailed to gang jailed. In this one, it's Norman's computer card that has his grades. So I do find that I kind of like that. I kind of like how Jennifer is a little bit more with it. We don't knock her out immediately at the beginning of the movie. She goes and explores and gets into trouble. There's the Huey Lewis cameo that was in this movie that we did not see in Back to the Future Part 2, of course. And they ended up being holograms, which I thought was really crazy because they do hologram concerts now. We had the famous Tupac Coachella one, and there's been other ones since. So there was a lot of fun in this Paradox script. And I even liked him going to the library and paying with the thumbprint and the fact that the money was different and people are like, cash, you accept cash? And that's really where we are now. Like, oh, let me see if I have any cash. I literally went to go pay with something the other day and I had to ask the people, do you take cash? And they say, yeah, we take cash. You have to ask that question now. When I was a kid, cash was king, like Sylvester Stallone said in Tulsa King. So there are some noticeable differences there. I've really liked where it's gone so far. So now what we're about to jump into the next part of the script of Paradox. This is Paradox Part 2. What I'm going to read this time around is we are going to start with Marty and Doc coming back to 1985, and we're going to end with Marty and Doc taking back off into the past. Where in the past will they be going? Well, we're going to find out. Now, again, I am reading these scripts on the fly, right? Meaning I am reading them with you. I don't read them ahead of time. I want to kind of experience it with the audience, and I want you all to hear me as I'm reading this for the first time on podcast form. So if I stumble over a couple words, forgive me. There's might be times where I take a second to pause to find my wording. I'm reading this off my laptop screen. I might have to take a drink of water every so often. So I just want to preface that. If that annoys you at all, I do apologize. But, I'm reading these things and I'm trying to get them all done in one take. So I'm not spending a lot of time editing. I just want to make sure that I get it as the most organic and natural feel as I can. So without further ado, here it is. This is part 2 of the Paradox script on Back to the Future, the podcast. Exterior, the Flying DeLorean, day. The Flying DeLorean descends to a 1985 residential street. Its wheels fold down, it lands and keeps driving. Interior, moving DeLorean, day. Doc, we'll take Jennifer directly home. Marty, but she left from my house. Doc, true. But when she revives at her house, the disorientation will help convince her that it was only a dream. Marty, okay, you're the scientist. Cut 2, exterior, Jennifer's house. The mailbox has Parker's on it. Wider, revealing the DeLorean idling in the driveway. Doc and Marty are carrying the unconscious Jennifer to a hammock in the yard. Doc, let's put her in the hammock. They put her in the hammock and Doc removes the blindfold. Jennifer remains asleep. Marty, you mean we're just going to leave her? Doc, she'll be fine. I'll take you home. You can change clothes and come back for her in their truck. Marty, you're the scientist. Cut 2, exterior, Lion Gates of Lion Estates. Day. The DeLorean drives through familiar Lion's Gates. Exterior, McFly home. Day. Marty gets out of the DeLorean. Doc, if you need me, I'll be back in my lab. Let me know if you have any trouble convincing her it was all a dream. Marty, you got it, Doc. As Doc drives off, Marty pulls out Norman's blue plastic card and shakes his head sadly. Marty, I sure wish it had been a dream. He walks up to the front door. It's locked. He takes out his door key and tries to open it, but the key won't fit. Marty fiddles with it to no avail. Marty, what the hell? He shrugs, then goes around the side of the house. Marty goes into his bedroom window and tries it. It opens. He climbs in and then loses his balance and falls. Immediately, he's greeted by a scream. Interior bedroom. Marty has fallen into the bed with a 12-year-old black girl. She's screaming. Marty is shocked. Girl, Mama, Dad, help! Marty, hey, who are you? What are you doing in my room? Marty suddenly realized this is not his room. Everything's different. It's a girl's room. Girl, help! Rape! She starts throwing things at a totally confused Marty. Now the door bursts open. Her parents rush in. Dad has a shotgun. They are accompanied by Harold, age 7. Dad, freeze, sucker! Marty raises his hands. Okay, take it easy. I don't want any trouble. Dad to his wife. Louise, call the police. To Marty. Move over against that wall. What are you doing with my daughter? Marty. Nothing. It's all a mistake. Honest, I live here. I mean, I thought this was my house and I made a mistake. Harold. Shoot him, Dad. He's lying. Dad. Shut up, Harold. To Marty. You thought you lived here? Marty. Yeah, I was up all night and I got confused and I just don't know. I went into the wrong window. I'm sorry. Harold. What are you waiting for, Dad? Blow his head off. Dad. You shut up. To Marty. What's your name? Marty. McFly. Marty McFly. Dad. You live around here? I never see no McFlys. And we've lived in here for 3 years. Marty. Please, sir, this is all a big, big mistake. I'm really sorry. And if you just let me go, I swear I'll never bother you again. Cut to front of the house. The door opens up and Dad shoves Marty out. Dad, if I ever see your ass here again, I'll press charges. Harold, and it'll blow your head off too. Marty, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Dad slams the door. Marty, very confused, goes down to the driveway and checks the address number on the curb. 2317. Marty, it's my address, my house. I don't get it. He looks around and notices Mr. Lester across the street, raking his leaves. Recognition lights Marty's face as he heads over to him. Marty, Mr. Lester, hi. How are you doing? It's me, Marty McFly. Mr. Lester looks at Marty with a blank expression. Mr. Lester, who? Marty McFly. You were Warren Lester, right? You're a piano tuner. You've got 2 little girls. Mr. Lester, that's right. What, did I tune your piano? Marty, no, we don't have a piano. Mr. Lester, Marty McFly, did you say? Sorry, the name just doesn't ring a bell. Marty, right, okay, thanks. Lester just shrugs as Marty wanders off, more bewildered than ever. Cut 2. Insert. Phone book. The listings include McFarlane, McFeeters, McGee, but no McFly. Marty is stunned. He's at a payphone in a bar. Marty. Jesus H. Christ. Well, Doc, I sure hope you can explain this one. Marty's about to make a phone call, but the payphone has been vandalized. There's no receiver. Perfect. Marty steps away from the phone and looks over at the bartender, 50, and his several low-rent patrons. Marty. Excuse me, has anyone here ever heard of George McFly? Bartender. George McFly? Yeah, I heard of him. Marty. I'm trying to locate him. Do you know where he is? Bartender. Yeah, try 301 South Street. Marty. 301 South Street. Thanks a lot. Marty runs off and the bartender chuckles to himself. Cut 2. Exterior. Close on an address plate. 301 South Street. Wider. Marty reacts in shock. He's at Hanley Park Cemetery. Marty. Oh, God, no. No. Exterior. Cemetery. Marty runs through the graveyard reading the tombstones and he finds it. In loving memory of George Douglas McFly, April 1st, 1938 to March 15th, 1973. Marty. March 15th, 1973? The accident. Marty dashes off. Cut 2. Exterior. Hill Valley. Historical monument. Marty runs past the statue of William Bill Hill, past the grove of trees beyond it, and discovers not the hospital, but a gigantic Las Vegas-style high-rise hotel complex. It's garish, overdone, outrageous, and it's called Biff Tannen's Pleasure Paradise. Hotel, resort, casino, girls. The huge flashing lit sign includes a portrait of Biff, and the place is doing tremendous business. Marty is dumbfounded. Marty walks trance-like towards the hotel, gawking at the ludicrousness of the whole thing and pausing to look up at Biff's mocking countenance on the sign. Interior, Paradise Lobby. Marty wanders through the lobby, which is done in tawdry red and black decor. He can't believe what he's seeing. Micro-skirted cocktail waitresses carry drinks to and fro. Painted ladies abound, many escorted by customers in the background. We see and hear sounds of slot machines and gambling. A singer in the cocktail lounge is singing Que Sera Sera. Everywhere is the Biffco logo, indicating that this is all part of a huge enterprise. On the walls, Marty notices photos of Biff posing with various celebrities, including Ronald Reagan. The matchbooks have Biff's picture on them. Marty pockets one. Then he comes to a display with a whole series of photographs titled Biff Tannen, American's Biggest Winner. The images depict Biff over a period of years winning at racetracks, winning at Las Vegas boxing matches, and other sporting events. There are newspaper headlines. Construction worker beats the odds. Lucky Tannen does it again. Mr. Longshot. Tannen pushes legalized gambling, and magazine covers. As Marty studies the display, he spots one particular photo and looks at it very closely. Insert photograph. It shows Biff receiving a large stack of money to pay at a pay window. Sticking out of his shoulder bag, we can make out the top part of a book. 2015 Sports Almanac. Marty is stunned. He reaches under his shirt and pulls out the red bookstore bag he brought from back from the future. Marty unseals it and pulls out a pad of blank paper. Marty. Oh my God. Takes a deep breath. Okay, Marty, get a grip on yourself. Doc will know what to do. This can all be straightened out. Marty checks the photo for the year on it, 1967. He turns and then receives the biggest shock of all. A display case includes a front page newspaper blown up. Tannen remarries in lavish style. The wedding photo shows Biff with his bride, Lorraine. In fact, the whole display is dedicated to mementos of the Biff-Lorraine wedding of 1974. This is too much for Marty to handle. He passes out in a dead faint. Cut 2. Interior. Darkened room. Night. Marty is lying in bed, lit by ambient light from a window. Female hands place a cold compress on his forehead. Marty groans and stirs. Marty, oh, where am I? Lorraine, you're home, safe and sound. Marty, home? Mom? Is that you? Lorraine, of course it's me, Marty. She sits down beside him and turns on his bedside lamp. Marty sits up in horror. Marty, oh my God. Yes, it's Lorraine, 47, but a very different Lorraine. She's made up like Tammy Baker, has an outrageous wig, and she's wearing an expensive glittery gown with lots of jewels. She looks like a floozy. She puts a cigarette in a garnish holder and lights it up. Lorraine, relax, Marty. Everything's going to be fine. Are you hungry? We can call room service. Marty looks around at the garishly decorated bedroom. The large picture window shows that we're 15 stories up. This is the penthouse of the paradise. Lorraine, I forgot. You haven't seen the penthouse since we redecorated. From outside, we hear a male voice. Voice off screen. Lorraine, where are you? Lorraine to Marty as she exits. It's your father. I'll be back in a minute. Marty, my father? Marty peeks through the doorway into the living room, where Lorraine joins Biff, 48, who's dressed up in a silk suit with showy jewelry and chains. Marty. Biff. All right, Lorraine, what the hell is this all about? Lorraine. It's Marty. They found him passed out in the lobby a few hours ago. He's resting in there. Biff. He's supposed to be in Switzerland. If that little runt's been kicked out of another boarding school. Lorraine. Quiet. He'll hear you. Biff, I don't care. God damn it, Lorraine. Do you know much perfectly good dough I've blown on that no-good kid of yours? All three of them? Lorraine, what the hell do you care? At least we can afford it. The least we can do with all that money is make a better life for our children. Lorraine pours herself a glass of scotch and drains it. Biff, Marty's your kid, not mine. And all the money in the world wouldn't do jack shit for that lazy bum. I've bought him everything he's ever wanted, and he still behaves like a little asshole. He's a slacker, just like his old man was. Lorraine, don't you dare speak that way about George. You're not even half the man he was. Biff glares at her and then slaps her. Marty is horrified. Biff, never talk to me like that. You hear me? Ever. Lorraine, damn it, Biff, that's it. I'm leaving. Lorraine heads for the door. Biff, no, you're not. Nobody walks out on Biff Tannen. I may decide to throw you out, but nobody walks out. Lorraine, well, I am. Biff, you walk out and I'll cut you off. You and your kids. Lorraine hesitates. Biff continued. I can get days probation revoked and he'll have to go to prison. Maybe he'll end up sharing a cell with your brother Joey. And Linda, I'll close her accounts and she can settle her disputes with the bank herself. And Marty, well, Lorraine, okay, Biff, you win. I'll stay. Biff, that's right. You'll stay and you'll let me treat you like dirt because you like it. And because deep down inside, you know that's what you deserve. Marty barges into the room totally enraged. Marty, God damn it, you can't treat my mother that way. Marty faces right up to Biff and slugs him in the face. Biff goes reeling backward and trips over a chair. Marty's about to go after him, but Lorraine stops him. Lorraine, Marty, don't. He's your father. Marty, he's not my father. He's just a rich asshole. Lorraine, just stay out of it, please. It's none of your business. Marty, Mom, I'm not going to let him hit you. Lorraine, I had it coming, Marty. I was wrong. He was right. Marty can't believe Lorraine is saying this. Marty, Mom, what are you saying? You're actually defending him? Lorraine, he's my husband and he takes care of all of us and he deserves our respect. Now I want you to go apologize. Marty glares at Biff as Biff gets up. Marty, like hell I will. Now the door burst open and Biff's three goons rush in. 3D skinheaded match from Biff's old gang. They're dressed quite well, but they're still the same. Skinhead. We saw it on closed circuit, boss. You all right? Match. You need any help? 3D laughs maniacally. Yeah, you want us to teach that little brat some manners? Biff turns to Lorraine. Lorraine looks at Marty. Lorraine. Martin Hopkins McFly, you owe your stepfather an apology. Marty takes a deep breath. Then looks at Biff. Marty. I'm sorry, stepfather. that I didn't hit you harder. With that, Marty turns and walks out. Biff, why that little bastard? Boys, I want you to... Lorraine, no, Biff, please. Promise me you won't hurt him. Promise me you won't go after him, please. Biff takes a moment, looking at his boys, looking at Lorraine, rubbing his jaw. Biff, all right, Lorraine, I promise. His boys and we see that Biff has his fingers crossed. Cut 2, exterior, Paradise Hotel, night. Marty leaves the hotel via the front entrance. The bellman watches him go and then picks up a radio. Bellman, he just left. Cut 2, exterior, a business street, night. Marty wanders along, confused, angry, and disoriented. He brings us to Lone Pine Mall. It's the same, except the one difference on the sign, the Biffco logo. Marty stares at the sign and shakes his head. Now he hears a crackle of a police radio. Dispatcher, VO. Suspect is about 17 years old, 5'4", 130 pounds, was last seen leaving the Paradise on foot heading south. Marty quickly ducks behind the mall sign and watches the police car drive past, then hurries off in the opposite direction. Cut 2, exterior, Courthouse Square, night. Marty comes around the corner into Courthouse Square. It's a sleazy nightmare of adult bookstores, porno theaters, bars, 24-hour pawn shop, and bail bondsmen. A bus bench has an ad for Biff's Paradise Hotel. A kid, 14, is spray painting a mustache on Biff's face. A police car screeches up. 2 cops jump out and beat the kid with nightsticks. They drag him into the car and drive off. Marty is horrified. He notices the courthouse clock tower has been replaced by a gigantic billboard for Biff Tannen's Paradise Hotel with a digital clock built into it. And the slogan is, "It's time for fun." Suddenly, Marty is hit by bright headlights. He squints. It's an approaching paddy wagon. Fearful, Marty turns and runs. He hears a barking dog and it's chasing him. Marty keeps going, but he's tired and the dog is gaining. He runs into an alley. It's a dead end. He looks for an escape and spots trash cans and a fire escape. Marty climbs onto the garbage can and grabs the fire ladder, but it gives under his weight and Marty falls into the alley. He hears the dog coming. In a blur of motion, the animal leaps on him. Marty, Einstein! Yes, it's Doc Brown's dog who licks Marty's face happily. Marty is glad to see him too. And the approaching paddy wagon, well, it's just Doc's step van, and the one that says the Dr. E. Brown Enterprises 24-hour scientific services. Doc rushes over to Marty. Doc, Marty, thank God. I've been looking all over for you. We're in serious shit. Marty, see, so I've noticed. Doc, I can't understand it. I've been to the newspapers, poring over the... Doc, I can't understand it. I've been to the library, poring over newspapers, magazines, trying to figure out what exactly happened. The timeline has been upset, but I don't know what caused it. Marty, I do. Cut 2, interior. Doc's lab, night. There are bound library volumes of old newspapers on the lab tables. One is open to the 1955 clock tower headline. Marty, somehow Biff found out about the time machine. When we went to find Jennifer, Biff got into the lab, found the sports almanac, and went back in time with it and somehow gave it to himself as a young man. Doc, but the book was still in my lab. When we left the future, I saw it. Marty, you saw this. Shows him the bag. Biff took the book out and replaced it with blank paper. Doc, and then you took it back, even after I told you not to? Marty, all right, Doc, I was wrong, and I'm sorry, but that's all in the past. Doc, you mean in the future? Marty, whatever. Doc, then that's why the last time departed said 1967. Biff went back to 1967 with the book. Marty, which means we have to go back to the future and stop Biff from stealing the DeLorean. Doc, Marty, we can't. If we travel into the future from this point in time, it will be a different future. The future of this 1985, in which Biff is wealthy and in which I'm evicted and my property is taken away. Marty, you're being evicted? Doc shows him the eviction notice. Doc, it all came in today's mail. Biffco Realty is taking over the whole neighborhood for a toxic waste dump. Marty shakes his head in the background. The dog food machine starts up and dishes out Einstein's supper. Doc, Our only chance is to repair the present is in the past, at the point where this timeline skewed into this tangent. Marty, you mean in 1967 when Biff first got the almanac? Doc, precisely. But we can't go back to 1967 until we find out exactly how young Biff got that almanac. Marty, a beat. Let me ask him. Interior, Doc's lab, minutes later. Doc is on the phone. Marty pages through old newspapers. Doc into the phone. Biff Tannen, please. Pause. Oh, he'll want to talk to me. Tell him I have information about the whereabouts of his stepson, Marty. Pause. I'm sorry? I'll only give the information to Mr. Tannen. Pause. Thank you. I'll hold. To Marty. I think they're going to get him on the line. Marty reacts to something he's found in the newspaper. Marty. Doc, check it out. Biff received a $25,000 inheritance on September 20th, 1967. That must be why he picked that date to go back. Marty shows Doc the newspaper. Insert newspaper page. The article. Tannen inherits $25,000 with Biff's picture as he looked in 1967. Also, on the same page, Otis Peabody released from sanitarium. Back to shot. Doc looks, then reacts to the phone. He motions for Marty to come over and listen. Doc, hello? Is this Biff Tannen? Biff, VO phone. Yeah, this is Biff Tannen. You know something about Marty? Marty nods to Doc, indicating that it is indeed Biff. But Doc, that's right. But first, I'd like to talk to you about a book you have. 50 Years of Sports Statistics, 1965 to 2014. There's a long silence. Biff, VO phone. How do you know about that book? Doc, because it's my book. You stole it from me in 1967 and I want it back. Biff, VO phone. I did not steal it. I found it, laying on my doorstep with my name on it. Who is this? Doc immediately hangs up the phone and smiles. Doc, bingo. Biff, in his casino on the other end. Biff pumps the cradle of his phone. Biff, hello? Hello? He hangs up and pushes the intercom. Security chief, trace that call top priority. Report as soon as you got it. Interior, Doc's lab. Marty is all charged up. Marty, all right, Doc, let's get this going. Doc, not so fast, Marty. You can't go to the 60s looking like that. Marty looks at his clothes. Then we cut to Marty stepping in front of a full-length mirror. He wears striped bell-bottom pants, a tie-dyed t-shirt, and is in a vest adorned with American flags. His hair is parted down the middle, and he wears a headband and John Lennon-style wire-rimmed glasses, and he has a knapsack. Marty, well, do I look fab? Doc, groovy. Marty, not fab. You look groovy. And for the finishing touch, Doc pulls something from a bag of old clothes from Jack's Pawn Shop, open 24 hours. Fast cash for your needs, and puts it on Marty. A string of love beads. Marty, no way, Doc. I'm not wearing love beads, no matter how groovy it is. Marty takes them off. Doc, wrong, Marty. Wrong. You say, sorry, man. Like, the beads trip isn't my thing. Marty has a hard time with it. Sorry, man. Like, yeah, the beach trip, like, isn't my thing, you know? Doc, you've got to blend in, Marty. As inconspicuous. When in Rome, do as the Romans. He rummages through the bags for something else. Marty, you're not wearing any of this junk. Doc, I'm not a kid. Besides, I'll have to lay low. I can't risk running into my younger self and the potential fourth-dimensional catastrophe that could result. Marty, so, Doc, exactly what were you up to in 1967 anyway? Doc, science professor at Hill Valley University. Hands Marty something else. Here, try this on. Marty dons a simple peace sign necklace. The metal peace symbol on a long leather thong. Marty, fine. I can deal with this. Doc, no, it's far out. I can groove with this. Marty rolls his eyes. Doc, aren't we overdoing this? I mean, it's a simple deal. We go to 1967. I grab the book off Biff's doorstep. I don't see anyone. I don't talk to anyone. And we come back to 1985. Doc, agreed. Agreed, Marty. But so far, none of my plans have worked according to plan. So this time, I want to plan for the plan to fail. This in turn becomes a plan of its own, which, if it fails, could result in the original plan succeeding. Marty, science. I love it. Doc, now pop quiz. Who's president of the United States in 1967? Kennedy? No, Truman. Doc, Lyndon B. Johnson. Didn't they teach you history in school? Marty, yeah, but I never thought I'd have to use any of it. Doc, I suppose you don't know who the governor was either. Marty shakes his head. Doc, Ronald Reagan. Marty, the president? Doc, the actor. And who's the mayor of Hill Valley? Marty, in his best 60s style. Hey, politics isn't my trip, man, so, quit hassling me. Doc smiles approvingly. Groovy. Cut to interior. Paradise Hotel. Indoor jacuzzi. Biff is in a hot tub with 3 gorgeous bimbos. He's talking on the phone. Biff into the phone. Look, Senator, I got you reelected. Now you're going to get the IRS off my back, or we're both going to be in deep shit. The Biffco uniformed security chief enters with his report. It's Mr. Strickland. Strickland. Mr. Tannen, we have traced on that call. The phone call is listed to Dr. Emmett L. Brown, 1640 John F. Kennedy Drive. Biff, have our boys go there with the police. Get him. Go there. Bring him to me. And Strickland, no screw-ups. Cut to interior, Doc's lab. They're getting ready to leave. Marty puts a suitcase into the DeLorean trunk. Doc is throwing some empty dog food cans into Mr. Fusion. Doc, that should be enough fuel. We've got supplies, cash. We better bring some cash, just in case. Doc opens a cabinet, revealing an ancient Wells Fargo safe. He dials the combination. The clock goes off. It's 9 o'clock. Marty, 9 o'clock? Oh my God, I forgot about Jennifer. We left her in the hammock and we had that big date. I was to go pick her up an hour ago. I better call her. Doc, no need for that, Marty. I'll have you back in plenty of time to make your date. Marty, huh? Realizes. Oh, right. We can do that. But what about Jennifer, Doc? Shouldn't we bring her along? I don't want her to be stuck here in Biff City. Doc, if we succeed, the events that created Biff City will never have happened, while Jennifer's history will be undisturbed. As long as we return to 1985 at a point after 10:45 a.m. this morning, when all three of us returned, everything will be fine. Marty, well, you're the scientist. Doc, that's why I'm not concerned about leaving Einstein behind either. To Einstein, you hear that, Einie? We're leaving, but not for long. In fact, we'll be back before we left, which means we won't have been gone at all. Why am I trying to explain this to you? You're a dog. Doc opens the safe and pulls out some cash. Doc, $300 for you, $500 for me. Marty pulls out his wallet and he puts the money in it. He notices. Marty, whoa, I better not be carrying around a driver's license before I've been born, or these IDs. Marty takes out several cards and IDs, including Norman's blue plastic card. He puts them in the DeLorean glove compartment. Doc, well, I think we're ready. Cut to interior, DeLorean, in Doc's garage, night. Moments later, Doc and Marty are seated, getting set. Doc, destination time, September 20th, 1967, 6:20 a.m. Insert time display. As the data is entered, back to shot. Doc turns the ignition and revs up the engine. Doc, time circuit's on. Marty turns the switch. Check. Doc, Mr. Fusion on. Marty turns the switch. Check. Doc, garage door open. Marty hits a garage remote door opener on the visor. Reverse angle, including their POV. The opening doors reveal a group of police cars with flashers, armed cops, and Biffco guards. Marty, Bullhorn cop. Dr. Emmett Brown, this is the police. Come out with your hands up. You are wanted for questioning. You are surrounded. Do not try to escape. Marty, shit. Doc, no, Marty, bullshit. Wide angle on garage as the DeLorean blasts up and out of the garage to the total astonishment of the cops. Action sequence. The cops fire pistols and the shotguns at the flying DeLorean. Buckshot pings off the flying car. Strickland, get a chopper out here. The DeLorean speedometer rapidly whips past 50. Gunfire shatters Marty's DeLorean window. Marty, more altitude, Doc. Doc pulls back on the appropriate joystick. The DeLorean flies higher over a light industrial area. The police keep firing. A shot explodes into the bottom of the DeLorean, ripping through a cable and causing sparks. Inside, a red light starts flashing. Doc, damn, there goes the aerial acceleration cable. Marty, is it serious? Doc, we can't get up to 88. Marty, it's serious. The speedometer is steady at 75. A cop pulls out a grenade launcher out of his truck. Doc, fasten your seatbelt, Marty. We've got one chance. Marty fashions his seatbelt. What's that? Doc, gravity. Doc pushes the joystick all the way forward. The DeLorean pitches downward. Doc shifts the transmission into neutral. The cop raises the grenade launcher. The DeLorean speeds at 60-degree angle. It's heading toward a warehouse and a parking lot. The speedometer climbs past 80. Marty stares ahead with his wide eyes in terror. Through the DeLorean windshield, the warehouse races upward. The cop adjusts his trajectory. The DeLorean speedometer hits 85. The DeLorean is on a crash course with the warehouse. The cop fires the grenade launcher. The speedometer reaches 88. The coils glow blue. The flux capacitor discharges. Through the DeLorean windshield, the warehouse comes hurling forward. Then, 3 white flashes, and the warehouse vanishes, and it becomes dirt and grass in morning light. Doc jerks the control stick back. The DeLorean straightens out and goes up again into the dawn sky. It's all undeveloped land here in 1967. Marty and Doc both sigh relief. Well, there you have it, guys. That is Paradox Part 2. The script reading here on Back to the Future, the podcast. We want to appreciate y'all for checking out season 10 of the show. We're 7 episodes in. I'm trying to make this the longest season of Back to the Future, the podcast we've ever done. So more killer episodes are on the way. Hopefully you've enjoyed the ones that you've heard so far. If you have, please leave us that 5-star rating and review. If you haven't left one already, I will read them as we get them on the podcast. And I'm going to send a copy of Back from the Future, a celebration of the greatest time travel story ever told. I'm going to be sending a copy of the book to the lucky person who leaves a great review. So do that. Follow me on Twitter at Brad Gilmore. Go to the Boat Brad Gilmore to hear all my projects, see what I'm up to. But we will see y'all next time here on Back to the Future, the podcast, the only podcast looking back in time at the greatest film trilogy of all time. We'll see you